Friends, and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, we're actually going to be starting a series of videos. I'm going to be working on a new planner journal, and we're going to be using one of these vintage Better Home and Garden cookbooks. I've actually collected quite a few of them. My plan was to list them on my Etsy page, but I think I might use them in some DIYs. So like I said, this is going to be a series of videos, so we're not going to be finishing this whole thing in one video. I'm probably going to start working on the cover in this video, and we'll see how far we go. So if you're interested in following along, make sure you subscribe, give this video a big thumbs up, and let's get started. Okay, so first off, the reason why I chose this specific book or this specific cookbook is because I really loved the inserts on the inside. Now, I wanted to do something different than just the typical red and white check. I wanted to kind of make it a little bit more whimsical, a little bit more fun. I wanted to use a lot more muted colors in this. I wanted to bring this one back to life and use a lot of the vintage theming throughout the book, but I wanted to kind of give it a little spin of my own. So I really loved the pink colored inserts in this specific cookbook. I have many of the different versions of this cookbook, and this is the only one I've found that have these really cute pink inserts that have these really cute little mid-century housewife scenes. Each one is different. You can flip through and see all these different cute little scenes. I loved that. So that's kind of what I was basing my theming off of, is this really cute mid-century kind of look. So I'm going to be going with a lot of pinks, a lot more muted neutral tones. I don't really know what year this one is. I'm thinking it's probably in the 50s. There is no page that gives me a copyright year. I think it was on the bottom of this page right here, and it is ripped out. So I don't really know. I'm thinking, like I said, either late 50s, early 60s, possibly for this one. But if you find them with these cute little inserts, definitely grab them, because this is kind of a hard to find one. That's why I chose this specific book, and I think we're going to start with the outside first. I'm actually going to pull out all of the inside pieces, the inside tabs, and just work with the binder, and then we'll go from there. Look at that scene, that kitchen. So classic. I'm saving all of this because I'm going to use this throughout the journal. So I'm just setting it aside and just going to use the binder itself to start the project. So the first thing I'm doing is I'm kind of picking out my colors and themes that I want to do my cover with. Now, I really liked this little insert page of this mid-century kitchen. I love the pink color in it. I love the little pops of like a teal or turquoise bluish green. And I also like the yellows in there. So I think I'm going to use this as kind of my inspiration for my color pattern on the exterior of my journal. So I have this really pretty fabric that it was just one of those little fabric bundles that you can buy at like Hobby Lobby or Joann or whatever. I just happened to have this in my fabric storage bin, and I thought the colors would work perfectly, so I want to use this color. And then I also picked out some papers that I really liked. I liked the bows on this little white cardstock. It's just got a lot of the pinks, the teals, a little pop of that yellow. I thought that would go really nicely with all of these color tones. And then I have another little color of the teal colored paper, which I have. This is just a scrap, but just so you can kind of see that I'm trying to bring in some of these teal colors into my design, as well as the pinks. So this is kind of my starting point. I did find some washi tapes as well that have those same colors. And I also went and grabbed my sticker set that I have up on my Etsy page. A lot of the colors in this set are going to be the colors that I want to incorporate into my journal. So I'm kind of just looking through all of these colors just to see how they work, and they work really well. Even this kind of vellum paper that I have here, it has reds and pinks, and I think that's going to work really nicely. Here's a bigger piece of it over here. So I think those will incorporate all the colors that I want to add to this journal. So this is just kind of my brainstorming phase, but this is what I've come up with so far. Now that I have kind of an idea and a plan, I'm going to put this plan into action and start working on the actual cover. Okay, so the cover of my binder, which I took all the pages out, you can see there's 5 rings in this binder, but you can see that it's come undone. It's kind of ratty looking, but I want to cover this up and make it much more durable, so that way I'll be able to fill it up. I'm going to try to work on the binder portion first and fix this area. So I cleaned this page up because I really loved this page as my cover page, and we're going to Mod Podge this right onto the front of our binder here. And then once this is Mod Podged, then we're going to start working on the actual binding and edges. But I want this as kind of my background. So just taking Mod Podge, and I'll Mod Podge this right down. Okay, so I'm not actually going to center this. I'm going to more or less keep it towards the right side of the binder, because when my fabric binding goes on, it will sit more over on this side. So I'm pushing everything over just so there's about an even amount all the way around. And now I'm also going to go over the top with the Mod Podge as well to seal it up nicely. And I'm using a matte Mod Podge. All right, so I am working on the fabric that's going to go on the binder part of the folder. And I just have this pink fabric, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some of this DIY craft adhesive along with some fusible adhesive, and we're going to make a seam. Now, as you can see, I cut 2 pieces. They're both exactly the same size. I'm facing them so that the print is facing each other. I'm going to take a little bit of my glue here, and we're going to go right down along the seam. So I'm doing this instead of sewing because I do not have my sewing machine here. My sewing machine is still in storage, and I'm going right down the seam with this adhesive. Just doing a little strip all the way down, and then I'm going to take a little bit of my fusible adhesive, and now this is spray. I'm just going to do a light spray right along the edge as well, and then I'm going to take my top layer of my fabric and lay that right down on top. Now the fusible adhesive, the fabric, this one right here, this is great for like appliques and stuff, but it's not super strong, so that's why I put this craft glue on as well, because that will give it a nice bond. And I'm just kind of pushing it down, and I have my iron heated up here, and we're going to go ahead and iron that right down. I ironed this strip a few times. Open up my fabric just like this. Iron in that seam. Okay, so here is my seam. I'm actually going to just flip this over. Like this. I'm going to go ahead and iron the seam on the other side. So now we have like a double-sided fabric. Now I wanted to have double fabric so that it was thick enough so that way the book itself, you wouldn't see through the fabric, you wouldn't see the book through the fabric. But I also wanted to make that binding a lot more durable. So I measured my book, and I'm going to need 5 inches in width, and that's going to wrap all the way around the edge of the binding of the binder. And then I'm going to need 11 inches for the height, and that's going to give me about a ½ inch on top and bottom to wrap under, so it's completely wrapped. So I need 5 inches total, but I'm going to mark 6 because that will give me an inch to play with. And then I'm going to need 11, and that includes the amount that I need extra. So I have my fabric all cut out to the exact size that I need, and now you can see this is the seam that we glued on the inside. We're going to do another one to the other side over here, and we just want to make sure that we don't go any more than a ½ inch. So I'm going to do the same thing, take some of my glue, so I went ahead and ironed it down. So now what we want to do is we want to pull this inside out. Now this would be a lot quicker if you had a sewing machine and did this with a sewing machine. But I want to pull this inside out. And now here's my other seam. And then I'm just going to go ahead and iron this seam down nice and flat. So now I have my binding cover. I'm going to take more of my fusible adhesive and I'm going to just open this binding cover up, and I'm going to just spray some of this all on the inside. Flip it around this way because I want this to kind of, there. Go ahead and iron that down so it'll be nice and flat. Okay, so now it's all ironed together and all the fabric is like one piece now, so it's like one thicker piece, and we're ready to go and bind our book with it. Okay, so my cover is dry. We're gonna take some washi tape, which is this really pretty kind of florally print washi tape, and we are going to almost frame this picture with the washi tape. We're only going to frame the top, the right hand side, and the bottom. We're going to leave the left unframed because that's where our fabric is going to go. Now you can see on the edges, I kind of just sloppily put this on. I'm going to go in and clean this up with a razor blade just so that I have nice crisp edges. Next, I'm going to go in with some ribbon. This is just some Dollar Tree ribbon, and it's lace, and we're going to do a border at the bottom about right here, and I'm going to do the same thing at the top, about the same spot. I'm not going to go down the right hand side. Now I'm going to attach this binder fabric, and we're going to use the craft glue along with hot glue because the hot glue will help it stick quickly. But I'm just going to use this for more long term because this is pretty heavy duty. I'm going to go all along . Edges. Okay. Okay, and we're gonna lay our binder cover over, push it down, glue. All right, I love these little clips right here because these will help hold this in place until it sets. So I'm just gonna do this side first. We'll let this dry for a little bit and then we'll work our way onto the back part of our binder book.